Hi everybody, it's Mark here. Welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd do something different today. I'm going to put out this new hashtag, 10 random tarot questions. So I'll be answering those questions and hope that you will respond on your channels to the same questions. And I just want to say I was inspired to create this hashtag from Jack Chanick's YouTube channel. His was hashtag 21 tarot questions. He did it in 2021, so hence the 21. And I pilfered a few of his questions and added a few of my own. So I kind of did a little cherry pick there, but I wanted to give him a nod. So the very first question is, what was your first tarot deck? So for me, it came in this beautiful package, sort of box, and it was the one JJ Swiss tarot. So this was the very first time I laid eyes on a tarot deck, like in person. It wasn't a great starter deck because of this kind of situation. I just didn't know how to read these pip cards, and the little white book that came with it only gave definitions for the majors. There were no definitions for any of the minors, including the minor chords. So I quickly moved on from this deck to the RWS that we all know very well. So that was my first tarot deck. And the second question is, what was the greatest influence on your tarot practice or your tarot learning curve, or however you want to put that? So for me, I made a friend in a local astrology group, and one day she mentioned as we were leaving the monthly meeting that she was actually more interested in tarot than she was in astrology. So that sparked my old interest in tarot, really decades old, and we started getting together on a regular basis and reading for each other, and so that really spurred me on. There's nothing like reading with someone and for someone to get you going. And around the same time, I joined a tarot meetup group, and we did the same thing on a monthly basis. So all of this was a very big help for me going forward. What deck do you currently use most often? So for me now, this can change because I do fall in love with different decks. I'm very Knight of Cups in terms of tarot, but I seem to have found my soul deck, if such a thing exists, and it's certainly my current soul deck, and that is the Sasarai Bito Tarot Tiny Traveler. And I actually say Tiny Traveler because part of the reason I love it is its small size. You can throw more cards out, there's room for them on the table in front of you, but just generally speaking, I just find this to be a very intuitive deck. The simple images resonate on different levels, depending on the question, depending on the reading. They're different enough to not have you sort of stick to the standard meaning and have nowhere else to go. So I really like that. It's just that there's something different going on, but the meanings remain the same. I saw somebody online describe this deck as very much a Page of Cups deck. So that resonates for me, as you'll see in one of the further questions we're going to get into. In fact, it's the next question. No, it's the question after this next one. Question number 4. Which tarot card is the hardest for you to connect with? That's an easy answer for me. Whenever this card comes up in a reading, it's just like, oh, I'm just so bored. So truth and legalities and balancing the scales, and here's your sword of truth, and karma, you know, what you do comes back to you. It's just, of all the major arcana cards, I just get stuck, and I'm not blaming the Morgan Greer deck. Most decks look like this. This is how the Justice card looks in most decks. And I just like I said, I just sort of go, meh, when I see the card come up. It seems very limited in its wiggle room. Like, the thing that I said I liked best about this deck was the fact that it gives slightly different takes on cards, intuitive hits, and without straying from the actual meaning. And just as an example, here's the Justice card from the Sasser Beto. So something is really going on here that's quite important with this pen-like dagger over this eye. Once this feather hits the scale, is it going to dip the scale into the eye? That's how delicate karma can be, or how delicate your next actions having to do with the question asked could be. So as you see, there's way more places to go with that kind of a depiction. But when it's this, I'm so bored. Okay, question number 5. What is your significator card? So I don't put down significator cards like at the beginning of readings, but there are cards in the courts that I do identify with. And when I say your significator card, I mean among the court cards. So for me, it always has been and always will be, no matter how old I get, the Page of Cups. This is me, the dreamy-eyed youth when I was a kid. Did I go outside and play? No, I was indoors with my head in a comic book or a regular book or a picture book, or in front of the TV or watching a movie, or just dreaming my life away. And that's kind of stayed with me. And of course, I got interested in astrology and tarot and all these intuitive arts quite young as well. I was very much an artist when I was young. Not that I was really good, but I was drawing all the time. So much Page of Cups activities going on, mostly up here. Okay, so question number 6. What special technique do you use with tarot? So this isn't that special, but as an astrologer, I do like to find out someone's zodiac sign before the reading starts, just because I have certain associations to the cards and the signs, and I like to know if that particular card comes up, if that person's sign is seen literally in the reading. So that's a very easy mark to say, oh, that's you, and this is what's going on around you. If I think about it, I might ask for their full birth date if they're willing to disclose that, so I can get their tarot birth card as well for the same reason. Number 7, what is the most imaginative reimagining of a card? So for me, again, going back to this deck, I just think this is the most impactful 8 of Cups image I've ever seen. All that time and attention and love and care put into growing her hair and maintaining it. And then comes a time when she's ready to move on from that, and she just snips it all off. Not really knowing how she's going to feel once it's all gone, taking that chance. That to me just says so much more than to sort of walking off into the moonlight. So I would say that's the most imaginative reimagining of a card I've ever seen. Question number 8. Did I mention there are 10 questions here? Yes, I did. Okay, so question number 8. What is your favorite tarot book? So, of course, most people would mention Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom, and I think it's a great book. And it's probably the first book I read where, the card meanings were really, built upon and enhanced and made more accessible than just a few keywords thrown together. But that book is so married to the images of the RWS, the standard RWS, that there's really no wiggle room to make it work on another deck. So my all-time favorite book is by, happens to be, I live in Toronto, happens to be a Toronto writer, Going Beyond the Little White Book by Liz Worth. This is a great book because there are no images in the book. Therefore, there's no particular deck being referenced. Therefore, you can use this book with any deck you have, your favorite deck, it all works. She breaks things down. It's very comprehensive for each of the cards, whether it's a minor or a major. You get several pages. She concentrates on general meaning of the card, if it's in a career reading, if it's in a relationship reading, and she doesn't do reversals, which I love because I don't do reversals, but she does have a whole section on challenges of the card, and that's how you might read a reversal if you were looking for a reversal, meaning I do prefer challenges as a category. So yeah, that's my favorite book by far if you're learning the cards. Which Minor Arcana card is your favorite? So I don't really have a favorite major, so I thought I would stick with the minors. That might be a little more interesting. So my favorite used to be the Nine of Pentacles, because I very much saw myself in this card. I sort of built up my own life. I've been single more than I've been coupled. And I just generally like the vibe of the card, no matter which deck I'm using. I just really identify with this person. They did it themselves. I'm an autodidact, so I taught myself astrology. I taught myself tarot. I do it myself. I set up my own, course system, create my own exercises to learn, follow through on them, that type of thing. My tarot birth card is the Hierophant, so that makes a lot of sense as well. But the sort of solitary life of the Nine of Pentacles, identifying with that card, I think made me even more of a hermit than I naturally am. I'm an introvert. So I started to move away from identifying with that card or feeling so happy when it would come up in a reading. So then I moved on to another Pentacle card, which I really, really enjoy. Not so much the standard RWS depiction, but depictions that, here we go, the Saceribito, like this, where there is a fair exchange. Yes, you may say this person's on top and this person's on bottom, so maybe this person is in a better situation, but each has 3 pentacles, so each has something to give back to the other. No matter who is considered to be by society on top in the pentacle realm or the realm of coins. Maybe it's because I have Taurus rising, Taurus moon, and I just really love a fair exchange between people. I'm very happy to read tarot for people for free. I do it all the time. But as a friend pointed out, the universe prefers a fair exchange. So now, if you want to buy me a cup of coffee or a gluten-free muffin or something like that, maybe that's a better exchange of energies. And I just like it when both people walk away from any circumstance feeling like they gave something and got something, and everyone's happy, walking away happy. So this has become my favorite card. Okay, so my last question is, how would you rank your favorite tarot system from favorite to least favorite? So there's the question. So my favorite is RWS. I do like RWS because I am a storyteller, again, with the Hierophant as my birth card. and I like to be able to tell a story in the cards. So I really need to see images there. But I do like an RWS deck with wiggle room and the intuitive possibilities. Not too many details in the cards that makes you focus on details, because then that card tends to just stand alone. I just want one or two, people doing something, and then, how does that all work together? So I really like the RWS. After that, I would say the Marseille, because I really find I like the directionality of the figures, as we all know by now. I love directionality on cards, where people are looking or headed in terms of the storytelling. But when you have those pips, I have to say the majors and the courts really pop out in the reading, and that kind of anchors the reading and gives them more import. Whereas, like in these cards, these look equally important to my eyes, at least. And there's an elegance. I mean, once you read with, I tend to get real, just here's your answer, don't strain your brain when I do a Tarot de Marseille reading. Because of that fact that the majors and the courts dominate, and then the extra information is seen in the suits, reduced to just the number and the suit type, and it makes it very elegant in front of you and very easy to read. And then Thoth is my least favorite. I don't love keywords on cards, but I don't hate them either. But I find the Thoth keywords either too on the nose or doesn't really give me anything. For instance, the Three of Swords is sorrow, so once you see that word, you're kind of stuck with that. Alternatively, the Three of Wands is virtue. Well, I can't relate that to what I think of as the Three of Wands, and what does that word mean in circumstance of how I'm reading? It's just confusing to me. While the images in the deck in general are beautiful, I can understand the artistic quality there. They're a bit too vague and in the occult mists and wrapped up in all that occultery. And as I said, I'm a double Taurus, and I just like to keep things simple and make the cards work together and tell a story and watch objects and people jump from card to card. And that just doesn't seem to happen for me in the Thoth as much. So there you have it. There are my 10 random tarot questions. I would love to hear yours, either in the comments or on your own channel. And that's it. So bye for now. Take care and see you next time.